Hello, my name is John, and today on Mono Story we're going to be talking about anime is Japanese. So let's get into it and find out what it's all about. When we talk about anime, we first have to discuss its history and how it all began. And the first instance of anime being produced was around 1907 to 1917, with a small few second clip to about a 4-minute video where there was a small amount of animation with no talking. However, around the 1960s, we saw the first real boom of anime, whether it be in Japan itself as well as overseas in overseas markets, and that was with a story known as Astro Boy. And from then on we had the real big boom of anime not only in Japan but the West, where now every single season there is more and more anime being produced, creating a large competition as well as a variety of stories that are being told through the production of anime. Across the sea around the same time period, there was a country known as America that started productions of films and TV shows in a place known as Los Angeles, California, and from 1903, Hollywood was established. But it wasn't until 1910 when the first film was filmed, and it was a 17-minute film called In Old California, which was a black and white film. And slowly from then on, movies and TV shows have become more and more longer, in-depth, and more interesting for not only the people of America, but people around the world. However, in the current time, due to there being changes in the film industry, things such as gender, culture, as well as poor writing have affected movies and TV shows, where they have now become a gutted mess and a shell of what they once were. These include things such as Star Wars, Star Trek, Lord of the Rings, Indiana Jones, Doctor Who, Marvel, Ghostbusters, and there are probably more stories out there that I have not mentioned in this video that have been destroyed by these communities and cultural references. And because most things have now become, in the West, a shell of what they once were, people are looking for escapism in other areas, and that has led them to the East, and specifically anime. With this situation becoming more and more prevalent, not only in the West but around the world, these groups and cultural differences are now starting to creep into the Japanese space through other methods in order to not only stop the production of anime in its entirety, but also censor it to the point where the writer's vision and ideas cannot be expressed with its original viewpoint. They have done this by pressuring card companies such as Visa and MasterCard to not allow any form of transactions in obtaining certain manga or anime in order to stop not only the production but distribution of this content. Additionally, some countries have even made it where if you watch anime, you're going to get arrested or the content itself is banned in the country. Additionally, people themselves are now messaging these writers on X or Twitter in order to get their viewpoint across, saying that the writing of this story is terrible, even though it isn't based on the writing itself, but the ideas that the story brings up and the sort of relationships that it wishes to express. The issue with this is that it is creating a problem for any form of writer of anime or manga, because now they are unable to express their viewpoints or ideas in a clear way through their writing, because they are worried it's going to either get censored, not produced, or it will get them a lot of hate or disrespect from other people from other countries over Twitter and other social media platforms. The big issue with this is that Japan is not the West. Therefore, things in the West that are thought to be bad is actually okay in Japan, and same for Japan. Something that is terrible in Japan may be totally fine in the West. There's no problem with it. Things such as teacher-student relationships, having lots of violence in your story is totally acceptable. Japan is a very old country with lots and lots of history, and through that history it has built their culture and lifestyle. So to be able to express that, they're going to use anime as their platform. So you can't just go in there and start thinking you can change it when it has been a cultural construction of that idea for a long period of time, more longer than you've probably even existed. And so just because it doesn't fit your moral compass or the laws that you have built for yourself doesn't mean you can go tell other people in another country, especially in the case of Japan, that they have to change their story because you don't like it based on your reality. The way they go to school is different. The foods that they eat are going to be different. That is what makes anime so good. It isn't the same as the West. It still has its soul, its passion, its belief, its diversity, its culture. That is what's in it. It isn't not just made to make money, and it isn't just made so that people can get their fix and then move on to the next thing. It's made to last. It's made to be beautiful. It's made to express the country of Japan. That is the point of making anime the way it is. It is to express the country through the eyes of the writer and then show that to another individual who is wanting to either escape or consume that story. On a personal level, I'd just like to say, if you don't like something, whether it be anime or manga or just any form of movie, even if you're coming from the West, just don't watch it. What is with people telling other people they have to change it? What is with people telling other people they have to remove it from the world? Whenever you do this sort of stuff, more people want to watch it because they're more curious as to what it is. So you're actually doing the opposite of what you are trying to achieve. And then let's try and be a devil's advocate here, and you were able to potentially get everything censored, everything erased. There was no way that anime could be disrespectful or have any form of things that you didn't like in it. What world would that be? What type of place would you be living in? Seriously. There would be nothing left in the world. You just go do a job that has no value because the people buying the things have no point of existence because they can't escape to anything. They can't find any value in anything. And so the whole world has nothing left in it. It'd just be a husk of itself. You just have no point of existence. What would be even the point of waking up in the morning? And do you expect to stop people from imagining? Because you can't do that. Even with the removal of everything, people are still going to look at something and take an idea of that and change it in their head. You are never going to stop people from dreaming, from escaping, from changing the concept or idea of something in their head to create it into something more unique and satisfying for other individuals. And that is why, in the end of the day, censorship will never win, because people will always want to try and escape. They will always find a way, whatever it takes, to find something to give them fulfillment and enjoyment. And people who produce that thing will also find a way to produce it, whether it be legally or illegally, through the correct markets or another market. So the only thing you're doing is wasting everyone's time and money because you've now taken something that could have been done in a year and now you made it like 10 years and you've slowed down our increase of society in general, because society could be improving at a much larger rate if instead of you wasting all your time spending on some thing that has no value to you because you're trying to get rid of it anyway, you could just turn it off and you don't have to watch it and do something else with your life that would improve society and would be further ahead. And then maybe you'd get so busy trying to get ahead in society, improving it, that you'd try to find that escapism and you would enjoy the actual thing you're trying to remove.
Fire! Fire! Ute! Ute!
Anime will always be mostly Japanese. There will always be some exceptions to anything with any rules applied. So an example of this would be Solo Leveling, because it is technically a Korean manhwa made by a Korean individual. However, it is being produced by a Japanese studio to be made into anime. Another example, if you want to look at things that are opposite to the norm, would be Avatar: The Last Airbender, and how that is considered to be an anime, but it was produced in the West. So there will always be some form of either production or originating story that is not necessarily made in Japan. But for the most part, most anime is made in Japan. So therefore, it will be using different cultural ideas and different ways of living. And so rather than attacking it and trying to change it into something that it isn't meant to be, it should be embraced and enjoyed for what it is. And whether it is something that we like, something that we dislike, it isn't up to us to make that decision. It is up to the writer of the story to say what they want to put in their story. If you don't like it, go write your own story, or just simply turn it off. Ignore it. Don't ruin it for other people, because you don't have the right to take away something from somebody else that has done nothing to you. And I hope in the future, Japan fights back against these frauds and these disrespectful individuals who are not only saying that their culture is unimportant, but is not holding up to the Western standards, which it isn't, because guess what? It's not the West. Its name is Japan. But that is my thoughts on anime being Japanese. I want to hear what you think about anime being Japanese. Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Do you like censorship, or do you hate censorship, and why? So please write that down in the comment section below. My name is John from Mono Story. If you haven't already liked, subscribed, and pressed the bell button, please do so. If you want to watch another video, click up above. If not, until next time, I will see you on another Mono Story.